The blast doors shouldn't have sealed. Kai Mercer stared at the red warning lights, his pulse hammering against his ribs as the facility's automated voice cheerfully announced they were locked in with approximately 90 minutes of breathable air remaining. Perfect, just perfect. Lieutenant, I've got movement on the east corridor, Hayes called out, his rifle swinging toward the shadows. Something big. Kai moved to his corporal's position, scanning the darkness beyond their makeshift perimeter. The research facility on the Raxus 9 was supposed to be abandoned, cleared out months ago when the Velkorians retreated from this sector. Intel said it was safe. Intel was apparently taking creative liberties with the word safe again. The secondary door, one that hadn't appeared on any schematic, slid open with a pneumatic hiss. Kai's finger found the trigger as a figure emerged into the harsh emergency lighting. His breath caught. High Commander Sivara Qel stood 15 feet away, alone and unarmed. The architect of the Epsilon offensive. The tactical mind behind the Orlia massacre. The face on every wanted board from here to Earth. She looked smaller than her reputation suggested, though the elongated ears marking her as Velkorian royalty swept back with unmistakable elegance. Blood stained her shoulder, dark against her gray uniform. Contact. High-value target. Hayes's voice cracked with adrenaline. 6 rifles trained on her. Sivara didn't flinch. She studied them with violet eyes that seemed to catalog every detail, every weakness, every fear. Kai had imagined this moment countless times during 3 years of war, facing the enemy commander responsible for so many deaths. In those fantasies, he'd never hesitated. Now, with her actually standing there, wounded and trapped just like them, his finger froze. "Do you ever wonder what we're dying for?" Her voice carried that melodic Velkorian accent but stripped of threat, just exhaustion. The question hung in the recycled air like smoke. Behind him, Kai heard weapons shifting, his squad waiting for orders. His training screamed at him to fire. His instincts said something else entirely. Every single day, he heard himself answer, and felt his rifle lower by inches. Hayes made a sound of protest. Sivara's expression shifted into something that might have been relief, or perhaps recognition. Outside, in the vast darkness of space, 2 civilizations continued killing each other. Inside this dying facility, something else was beginning. "Sir, with respect, we should execute her now." Hayes kept his weapon raised, his stance rigid with 3 years of accumulated rage. "How many of our people has she killed? How many of yours have I killed?" Sivara addressed the question to Kai, not Hayes. "Do you keep count?" "I stopped at 3,412. The number became meaningless. Kai's jaw tightened. "That's supposed to make me feel better. No, it's supposed to make you understand I'm as tired of this as you are." She leaned against the wall, favoring her injured shoulder. "I came here looking for something. I suspect you did too." "We're not discussing classified operations with the enemy," Hayes snapped. "The pre-war archives," Kai said, ignoring his corporal's glare. "Intelligence suggested they might be stored here, documentation of the original treaty negotiations." Sivara's eyes widened slightly. "The failed peace talks. Yes. My government seeks the same records. Convenient story, convenient truth." She gestured toward the sealed corridor behind her. "The archive terminal is through there. The security system locked me out and sealed the facility when I tried accessing it. Then you arrived, and here we are. Both trapped, both suffocating, both looking for answers to a war neither of us started." The facility groaned around them, environmental systems struggling. 75 minutes of air remaining. Kai's mind raced through scenarios. Execute her and become a hero, but die here without completing the mission. Work together and risk everything on the word of humanity's most wanted enemy. Or do nothing and let the facility become their shared tomb. "Private Chen, what's the status on those blast doors?" "No luck, sir. Whatever locked us in has root-level control. We'd need days to crack it, and we've got," Chen checked his readout, 73 minutes. Sivara pushed off the wall, moving slowly to show she meant no threat. I can access the security system if you can reach the archive terminal. Velkorian encryption protocols. Your equipment won't recognize them. And why would you help us? Because I want to go home, Lieutenant. And I'm beginning to suspect the only way any of us get home is if we stop shooting long enough to remember why we started. The archive terminal flickered to life, displaying fragments of data corrupted by time and neglect. Kai worked the human interface while Sivara manipulated the Velkorian security protocols, their temporary alliance feeling increasingly surreal. His squad maintained a perimeter, weapons ready but no longer aimed directly at the Queen's head. Progress, he supposed, in its own dysfunctional way. There, Sivara's fingers danced across haptic controls, the treaty negotiations from 5 years ago, before the war. Kai pulled up the files, scanning through diplomatic correspondence, proposed borders, resource-sharing agreements. Everything looked reasonable, promising even. Then he found the transmission that changed everything. What am I looking at? Sivara leaned closer, reading over his shoulder. Her proximity should have felt threatening. Instead, it just felt strange. That's First Contact Protocol 7, a standard greeting transmission, it says. She paused, her expression shifting through confusion to something approaching horror. It says, "We come seeking mutual prosperity and peaceful coexistence." And that's bad because your government's translation matrix interpreted it as "we come seeking mutual destruction and total conquest." Look at the linguistic analysis. The Velkorian word sakith means both prosperity and power, depending on context. Your AI chose wrong. Kai stared at the screen. You're telling me this entire war started because of a translation error. Not just that. Look at the human response. You transmitted back, according to our records, "We accept your challenge and will fight until extinction." But your actual message was, "We accept your friendship and will strive for coexistence." Kai felt something cold settling in his stomach. The translation algorithms failed both ways. And by the time anyone realized, ships were shooting, colonies were burning, and neither side could back down without looking weak. Sivara sat heavily on a cargo container, her wound clearly causing more pain than she'd admitted. 3 years, hundreds of thousands dead, because machines misunderstood words. Hayes had moved closer, reading over their shoulders. This can't be right. The war is about territorial expansion, resources, survival. The war is about momentum, Sivara said quietly. About military contracts and political careers built on conflict. About hate that's easier to maintain than peace. She looked at Kai. Your medical training. You were a field medic before you commissioned. How did you? I study my enemies. That wound on your left thigh, you favor it when you move. Shrapnel from Orlia. Kai nodded stiffly. I gave that order. I live with it. Just as you live with whatever you've done. She met his eyes. Are we enemies because we chose to be or because someone chose for us? The facility's air tasted increasingly stale, 40 minutes remaining, and a choice looming that would define everything that came next. I'm calling this in. Kai activated his long-range transmitter, bypassing his squad's encrypted channels for open broadcast. All frequencies, both sides. Sir, that's treason. Hayes moved to stop him, but Sivara held up a hand. Let him. I'm doing the same. She activated her own device, violet light pulsing as it connected to Velkorian networks. Lieutenant Kai Mercer, 47th Recon Division, transmitting from the Raxus 9. I'm broadcasting archived evidence regarding the war's origin. Stand by for data upload. High Commander Sivara Qel, transmitting on all military channels. Evidence of systematic miscommunication leading to current conflict. Recommend immediate ceasefire for evaluation. The data flooded outward across the quantum networks, unstoppable and undeniable. Kai watched Sivara as she transmitted, saw the weight she carried in the set of her shoulders. He'd spent 3 years hating a propaganda image. The reality was more complicated. Your shoulder, He pulled out his medical kit. "Let me see it. You're treating the enemy. I'm treating someone who's bleeding." He moved closer and she didn't stop him. The wound was worse than he'd thought, a plasma burn that had cauterized badly. He cleaned it with practiced efficiency, feeling her flinch but make no sound. "You could let me die," she said softly. "Easier than what comes next." "What comes next? Peace talks, tribunals, accountability. Your people will call you a traitor. Mine will call me weak. We'll both face consequences for choosing truth over loyalty." "Yeah, well." Kai sealed the wound with synthetic tissue. Loyalty to a lie isn't loyalty. It's just fear with better PR. The facility's proximity alarms began shrieking, multiple ships dropping from hyperspace. Human and Velkorian arriving simultaneously, each expecting combat. Kai and Sivara moved to the communication array, still broadcasting. "This is Lieutenant Mercer. Recommend all vessels hold fire. High Commander Qel is present but under temporary truce. We have critical intelligence for both commands." The responses came fast and furious. Orders for his arrest, demands for Sivara's execution, threats of court-martial and worse. But then, other voices. Soldiers who'd read the transmitted data, junior officers questioning orders, the slow, grinding sound of people starting to think instead of just react. When the rescue teams finally breached the facility, they found an odd tableau. Human and Velkorian forces standing together, weapons lowered, watching two commanders who'd chosen conversation over carnage. Military police from both sides moved to place them in restraints. "Thank you," Sivara said as the restraints closed around her wrists, "for dropping your weapon. Thank you for asking the right question." Kai felt the cold metal on his own wrists, saw Hayes' conflicted expression, heard the facility's air systems finally give out as external life support flooded in. Above them in the black between stars, two fleets held their fire. It wouldn't last. Peace never came easy, and the forces profiting from war wouldn't surrender without a fight. But for the first time in 3 years, there was a chance. A possibility that understanding might outweigh fear. Kai had started the day expecting to die in combat. He was ending it under arrest for choosing peace. Strange how that felt like progress. As they were separated, led to different transport ships, Sivara called back, "I'll see you at the tribunal, Lieutenant." "Looking forward to it, Commander." And somewhere in that exchange, buried under exhaustion and uncertainty, was the faintest foundation of hope.